What is going on, my people? This is the Hidden Wisdom Podcast, and you're locked in to episode 3, Walking with God on Your Healing Journey. Now, let's kick this off, yeah? Basically, this is for anybody who is, it's ideally for people who are struggling with certain situations that have happened in their life. Primarily those who have had life-changing events, big events happening, which they were living their life as normal, and then bang, certain things have happened. Now everything has changed. They have to develop into a new person. They have to get through hard and difficult times. Whatever you're facing, whether it be mental problems, your emotional well-being is getting fucked up. You're in toxic environments. You need to make some really big decisions in your life, but you're not too sure how to do that. And yeah, just people who are battling health problems, people who've got issues going on with their families, whatever adversity you're going through, this podcast is dedicated to you guys, yeah? And I'm sure we've all got some of this shit going on in our lives anyway, but obviously for some of us, I feel like, we need to connect to something that is not of this world. I think we as people put so much emphasis on things like materialistic shit, like the iPhone. Like it's kind of like the iPhone has become God, the Mac laptop, the iPad. These things, we've put so much importance, we've put everything, all of our energy, all of our efforts into these devices and into materialistic stuff in general. We need to get away from this to face our demons. We need to get away from this to heal ourselves. We need to get away from materialistic stuff. Not completely, but we need to take some time away from it to connect to the universe, to connect to our creator. And I think, obviously, I was saying that this podcast is dedicated to those who have got a lot of hardship going on in their lives right now. And in my opinion, if you do not have any faith or belief in God, or any faith in something else being out there, something that we can't see, a divine entity, I just feel like, what is the point in carrying on? Because I'll tell you something, when my life flipped upside down and I started to get extreme challenges, I was extremely challenged, both mentally and physically. I've always been deep down. I've always been a spiritual person. For me personally, I've always been drawn towards Islam. I've read about many other religions. I'm drawn to other religions as well. But for me, when I was very young, I've always been drawn to Islam. There's something about it. There was something the way that the Muslims carry themselves. There was something, even I found beauty in the most simplest things, like even the Arabic language, the way that it looked, the calligraphy, the architecture of the mosques, the minarets, everything about it used to just fascinate me. That's just a personal thing. For others, it might be Christianity. For another person, it might be Buddhism. But that's just me on my journey. But I never actually went through with learning more about it. I did obviously read some books. I was really fascinated about it at one time. Then when you're younger, you kind of just was like, screw this. I'm going to go and drink. I'm going to go and party. I'm going to go and eat my pork. I'm going to go, you know what I mean? You end up just being of this world like everybody else does. You go and quote unquote have a good time and let loose, and basically all that means is you just became a slave to your desires, and there's no fulfillment in any of those things. So I was not fulfilled for a very long time and used to kind of figure out, like, why the fuck am I not happy? Like, I'm doing all this stuff, I'm going on holidays, I've got all these friends, I'm in this relationship, I've got, this money now, and blah, 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 blah. Like, just fucking all this materialistic crap never makes us happy. And there's a void in all of us that's never, ever fulfilled. Doesn't matter what partner you're with now. It doesn't matter how many friends you've got. It doesn't matter about how much money you earn and how much is in the bank. Like, how big your house is, what car you drive. There's something that's not fulfilled within us. And this is what I want to talk about today, is especially in times of adversity. I've basically been in a situation where, like I said, my life was flipped upside down. I had to make some clear decisions. And while my adversity just started, I would say in the first year of like getting health problems and stuff like this, I didn't really have that firm belief. I never really thought that really, at that point I thought our religion was just some backwards bullshit, or spirituality is just for hippies. Like, I had this very negative view on religion and spirituality based off, society and, family members and culture, you know, especially in the Western world, these things are viewed as just ridiculous concepts. Like, you can't see it, so it must be fake, it must be bullshit. You're living in some backwards fucking cave mentality bullshit. We've now got our iPhones, we've got our laptops, we got the MacBook Pro, we've got the motherfucking, we got the Apple iWatch, I got the TV now, we got PlayStation 4, we got the Xbox Live, we got Xbox One, we've got all these things, all this advancement in technology. And you lot want to go on and on about some Jesus stuff like that has no relevance today. And how wrong was I? It's only when you get tested in life, I feel, that when shit was really hitting the fan, you can't turn to the Apple iWatch. You can't turn to your phone. You can't turn to buying loads of clothes. You can't, like, of course these things will help in the short run. These are very temporary pleasures. You can turn to sex, you can turn to drinking alcohol, you can turn to drugs, you can smoke loads of weed, you can do all these things, but it's not, it's an escapism. It's not dealing with the reality, and it's not facing anything. You're not facing any problems or demons in your life. You're just basically running away and trying to escape whenever you can. The minute the whatever you're escaping with, the minute your substance or whatever is done, it's like you start to come down, you start to feel like shit again, your demons start to reappear. Oh fuck, I need to start escaping more. And then you start running back to escaping. It's like this never ending cycle, and you just become a hamster on a hamster wheel. So at a point I was like, you know what, there is something else out there. I was really desperate for some help. So I started to read a lot of books. I started to just say to myself, do you know what, I'm gonna really dive right into this Islam thing. I'm really gonna go into this. A lot of people had negative connotations and kind of negative beliefs on what Islam was. They had never read about the religion. They have never even they don't even really know anyone who practiced the religion, but they would always tell me how bad it is. They would put TV on, look, people are blowing themselves up, they're shouting about this religion, they're killing people, innocent people are getting blown up, they're killing themselves, suicide bombing. That's all you see is terrorism. And there's a whole other side to this religion. Like, at the end of the day, I don't even watch the TV anymore. I interact with Muslims, I interact with they're probably the most peaceful people I've ever met. Now, this isn't about other people. It's not about me converting to any religion and then I'm trying to get validation from other people, because I see that a lot. I see that certain people who are lost in life, I feel like they only become Muslim because they're readily accepted, and then now they've got a group of friends, and this is nothing to do with that. I'm talking about spiritual in the spiritual sense. When I see Muslims and what they do, they pray 5 times a day. These are the practicing people. They give to charity, a lot of them could do good deeds, and like, it's just fascinating. They don't have bad habits. Like, they don't drink, they don't eat pork, they don't do any of the stupid things that we in the West really go to the end of the earth to just do as many of this stupid shit as we can. They don't indulge in it in general. I mean, the whether they practice that or not, but I'm just saying, I don't know what happens behind closed doors, but I'm just saying this is the way that the religion tells you to live your life. And the way that these people, the way that they practice it, it shows that they're not on the street drunk. They're not out at all hours of the night. It's a very simple way of living, and it's a very clean and pure way of living that I'm just fascinated by that. I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, fuck, when I was doing all this other bullshit that the West and the media and the television and all this crap everyone in this Western world tells you to do, it does nothing but destroy you. And because I had some time doing that and realized at the end of all of that I was not happy, something had to change. So I dived right into this. And yeah, I mean it wasn't just Islam, it's spirituality in general. I was looking into like yoga, meditation, but I just want to talk mainly about how certain principles in Islam could benefit your life. I mean, this video right here is not to convert anybody. It's not to label myself as a Muslim. It's not to tarnish anybody who doesn't follow in Islam. You could believe in Christianity. You could believe in Judaism. You could believe in Buddhism, Sikhism. There's so many other faiths out there. And there's also, even if you don't believe in religion per se, there's philosophy. There's people who believe in, teachings and stuff like that of philosophers and people of ancient times. So, but for me, I want to focus on some beautiful principles that I learned in Islam that have changed the game for me. They've all, I would say, they even took me out of suicidal depression. A lot of these things, these principles have helped me carry on this healing journey and get to where I am, because I really feel that if it wasn't for this belief system, uh, I just don't think I would be anywhere near to the mind that where my mind would be right now. And the thing is, if you're in a desperate situation, if you have adversity, you need to make sure that your mind is right. I can't emphasize this enough, people. Like, you really do need to get your mind in a certain condition, a certain state for you to heal from wherever it is you're healing from, for whatever you're doing with your life. Even if it's not health related, if you've got any adversity, you need to make sure you get your mind right to say, I don't give a shit what is going on in my life right now. I don't care who's saying that it's gonna fail, what I'm doing is gonna not working out. You have to have that unlimited mindset, that mindset that is walking with God, like to say that, no matter what is going on right now, yes, my situation might be fucked up right now, it might be fucked up tomorrow, it might be really messed up next year, but at the end of the day, I'm working on I'm working on getting out of this situation every day. I'm walking with God, and we're gonna do this every day, and I'm gonna have this faith that this is part of God's plan. God's I mean, for me, I wasn't really raised in any, like, I was raised in a particular religion, but it wasn't practiced or anything. And any practicing that would go on, uh I would always question. I never connected to the particular religion that my family and stuff had raised me up on. And I just feel like it was all the time, it was do this, do that, now do this, now do that. And it was just, I had questions. I said, well, why are we doing this? Why are you doing that? Or why do we do this on this certain occasion? Why are we doing that? And it was just kind of like, those questions were met with a lot of aggression, because there was no answers. There was just blindly following what their parents had told them, and nobody had any answers. Nobody really was religious. Nobody even really had a belief in God. It was just a traditions that had been passed down from their elders, that nobody knew the reasons for why they even did it. So I wanted something more. I wanted to have a relationship and connect with my creator, almost on a daily basis. I wanted to have powerful beliefs that are going to help me in the real world, that are going to help me on an everyday basis to get through what it is that I was dealing with. And I just feel that with Islam, they say that whatever you go through, whatever hard times, whatever adversity that is going on in your life, God has actually done it to you so that you can grow as an individual. Now, I had never, ever, ever heard of this concept in my entire life. I was like, whoa. I was kind of blown back. I was kind of, because in my culture, when you look at like Asian people and, certain places around the world, The minute something goes wrong in your life, the first thing that they do is blame things like black magic. They blame other people. The whole black magic thing is just ridiculous to me, because it's just like, it could be even real, the concept of black magic, people doing it, people being jealous of you, people doing rituals to make sure that you don't become a successful person. I totally get it, and I think that there are some really nasty people out there that wish bad on people, and they might even go to the extent of carrying out these old rituals that from ancient times that people have. And you know in Asia, it's like such a big concept. So the way I see it is kind of as I was trapped in that mindset as well. I've been brought up with people taking that black magic thing so seriously. Like, you've got to be careful. Someone might do black magic. Someone might do this. It was like very fear based. And the minute I got out of that thinking and I adopted these principles that I had found in Islam, it was like, whoa. It was like, what a game changer. When I believed in that whole black magic belief system, I all that whole time, my health and every problem that I had was not in my control. It was always somebody else was to blame. It was never myself. It was always like doom and gloom. This is bad. Everything in your life is going wrong for you. It's always just fear. Whereas now, with this new concept of, no, actually, God has done this to you so that you grow as a person, so that it's a test, it's a trial to see if you can get through this, if you can master this, if you can really push past this and get to the other side. You will transform as a person. There's personal development involved in it. You basically change. Like, some of these tests that people are given, especially in my case, every aspect of my life had to change for me to get to the other side. And it's been the biggest blessing in disguise. I think anyone with health problems as well, it's the biggest blessing. I feel like the synchronicity, the timings, that I got ill and all of these things were nowhere near a coincidence. The timing of it, when I look back at things, it was impeccable. It was like there was just the odds of the timings and things that were happening. It was just perfect for my journey. And I mean, now looking back at my own healing journey and to see how far I've come, every old everything that I used to do in like the previous way I was living was so disgusting. I had toxic friends around me, toxic family members, thinking I could never get out of it. I was suppressing my dreams to kind of look good in society, had the wrong people giving me advice and I would blindly follow it. Never ever was I actually listening to my inner voice. Never did I trust my own intuition or my gut feeling. I had that there. It was very loud, my inner voice. It's not quiet like a lot of other people, but I felt like others in my life, like family members and stuff, they were always the driver in the car. I was always the passenger. And anytime I had any problem with this, and anytime I wanted to drive the car that was my life, it was met with fierce opposition. Again, it was just like I couldn't get a fucking break, man. Like, everything was going to shit, and it was just like I could not control it. I had no say over my life, and there was just no way that I could get away from these people. Now, I felt like there was a certain point in my life where it was just like it was getting so overwhelming for me that I just wanted to die. I was just like, what is the point in living? Every aspect of my life was negative. All the habits I had were showing that I was just running away and I was escaping and I was being destroyed, and I had a huge void there that was not being fulfilled by anything. So I just feel like right now it's very important to have that kind of concept, and that belief, in what you're going through and in this moment in time is so important for you to grow as a person. And I feel like God has done this to people so that your highest version, so that you live your highest version in it. Like, you actually get to the point where the highest version of you that test will actually bring it out of you, because you weren't going to do it. Like, I wasn't going to change. I wasn't going to stop eating McDonald's. I wasn't going to stop drinking. I wasn't going to stop having sex all the time and having my addiction problem. I never even would have looked into it. It's only when I started to get these problems did I say, shit, I need to start cleaning up my life on every aspect. And looking at these, I would never have knowledge that I didn't even realize what I was doing. I was subconsciously, I didn't even know that I was running away from my problems or anything. I was just like, I just want to have a good time, and didn't really see things for what they really were. I feel like this society it's just all a fucking illusion most of the time, and it doesn't give us the true fulfillment that we're all really seeking deep down, which is, a good relationship, um, good, honest friends that are there for you. And yeah, just doing what you're passionate in and having that firm belief in your creator. I think that those things are so important. And this is what changed the game for me, and I feel like this could benefit anybody out there. You need to understand that God has got your back, and look at all these negative situations. Like, why? Ask yourself, whatever problem you have, why is God doing this to me? What are the lessons that I should learn? What is it in my life what is it in this test that's gonna, when I get out of this, when I get myself from A to B, when I come out of this storm, what is the type of person that God wants me to be? Like, what are the attributes, what are the skills that I need to get through this? And just having that firm belief that no matter how long it takes, I'm just going to believe that my creator has got my back, and my creator empowers me, and my creator is going to, as soon as I start acknowledging this mindset and walking with the creator to solve my problems, God will then give me all the information. God will then give me all the blessings that I need to get through this journey, to get through the storm, so that I can become the higher version of myself. So yeah, I mean, I'll just give you an example. That one concept right there, as soon as I started to get my adversity and my life was flipped upside down, it was a no-brainer. The people that I wanted to get away from for many, many years of my life, in the click of a finger, just like that, they all went. I had changed my number. I got rid of everybody. I literally went into solitude when this all happened. I got rid of everybody. I wasn't interested. It was like I realized that all the people, God was showing me that all the people that I was around was just based on convenience. No one there was my real friend. No one there cared about me. No one there was really there for me, and it was all just an illusion. It was all, oh, because I grew up with them, I have to be around them, I have to go out with them, I have to always talk to them. This adversity made me, without even thinking, this whole time I was always thinking, this is wrong, there's something wrong about having these friends, there's something wrong about being around these particular people, there's something wrong about these situations I keep going into. But I kept doing it because I didn't have I didn't have the adversity to smash me down and say, right, I need to think for myself. I need to, so I feel like the adversity kicked in. It was a no-brainer. I got rid of everybody. And then slowly, I started to do a lot of research. It's like God showed me, get rid of the junk food. Get rid of drinking all the soda, and get rid of all this crap that you've been doing. Even in my traditions, like in my culture, there's a lot of food is such a big deal. Like, I remember, I don't know if any of you guys know, but there's somebody on YouTube called Fully Raw Christina, and she's of a Middle Eastern background, and she was saying when she went fully raw, her mum basically disowned her. Her mum didn't even talk to her for about 4 years, because food is such an important part of culture, especially if you're ethnic, and I feel like even in my culture, in the Asian culture, food is just everything. It's everything. And for me I had to get out of that paradigm. I had to get out of that way of thinking that those foods that I was brought up on, those foods that brought me comfort, the fried foods, the sugary food, I had to get rid of all these things. And slowly, I started to then look into emotional healing. I started to look at all of my behaviors, psychology, started to look into the addictive behaviors I was having with alcohol and all these things. They all had to go. And I've been on a journey learning about the human body. I've been on a journey learning, reading books about psychology, reading books about philosophy, reading books about Islam, and reading all these things that are showing me the way forward, that are dissect. It was almost like they're putting all the pieces to a puzzle, and dissecting my life right before my eyes, and taking away all the crap and all the things that were just destroying me, taking all these things out, and having a mindset to push through this storm. And it was like all the information has been given to me, and there's been times that I wanted to give up, there's been times, but because I kept that faith. There was a time in my life where I thought I was never going to get better. The doctors were telling me you're never going to heal, you just suppress symptoms. Like, when you hear this stuff, you start downplaying the God thing, you start downplaying the religion, you start thinking all the whispers from the devil start coming to you, saying, trying to take you off this godly divine path that you have embarked on. I feel like it's so true. I mean, it sounds a bit weird me saying it out loud, but I really feel that's the devil whispering to you, trying to make sure you don't go on this path, that you don't get better. And I can tell you from experience, just because for keeping that faith, certain things were getting revealed to me, certain information was getting revealed, certain people were coming into my life out of fucking nowhere, like people just crawling out of the woodworks, coming to help me with vital information. And I feel like God has put these people in my life. God has done this. It's the synchronicity. There is no coincidences with the way that it's all worked out. And I just feel like this having this mindset is so underrated, man. Like, just my whole life I've been worrying, living in fear, being so fear based. And to say, like, in my affirmations that I write down, to say shit like, I no longer have to fear or worry about anything ever again because I follow the divine plan for my life. I don't ever have to be worried about confrontation with other people. I don't, as long as I speak my motherfucking truth and I follow my divine plan for my life, I don't ever need to fear or worry anything, because God has got my back. God is empowering me, and anything, as long as I'm following that divine plan, like my purpose, what I'm doing, as long as I keep doing that, then God is always going to protect me. God is always going to have my back no matter what happens. Even if a negative situation happens and I find myself in something so distraught, like I'm in despair, something negative, there's always something you can learn from it. And I always feel like at any situation that gets thrown at me, doesn't matter what it is, God wants me to learn something from it. And since I had this, my health has improved, my life is improving, my mental state is improving. And I just feel like this is a concept that I think people should, put into their lives, because if we don't have these, the thing is, I remember listening to a lecture on about Islam, and someone saying that in the Western world, or just the world in general, I feel like, because I don't want to just say it's Western people, but just the world where we are in 2018 right now, every single human being is a slave. Yeah. Now, we are either a slave of one of these two things. Now, most of us, I would say, are a slave. We have enslaved ourselves to our desires. Now, that's not going to get you, that destroys your life. Now, if you're not a slave to your desires, then you are a slave to your creator. You are a slave to God. And, I really feel like, that's an empowering thing, because being enslaved by your desires, the desires are always fleeting. The desires are, they disappoint. They're not always, even if you enslave yourself to the concept of having a relationship with this really hot girl, and she's perfect and this and that, you're basing your happiness based on another person. That other person might have ups and downs. That other person might lash out at you. That other person might say hurtful things. So you're always going to get disappointed. But when you put everything you have into God, you say, you know what, I surrender to my creator. The creator is perfect. The creator has created all these things, this whole universe, this world that we live in, has created all of this stuff. And it can never go no wrong. It's infinite. It's always there. It's always in your best interest. And I just feel like it's very powerful, and it's basically played a huge role in saving my life from me losing my mind. Like, it's very important. So yeah, like, that is something that I wanted to touch on. And also, just I probably will make more videos about Islam in the future, but just something else that I came across, which is the 5 daily prayers, which is a pillar of Islam. um there's a lot of negative views on this, like even with Muslims themselves. Like, it makes me feel sick when I hear people say, oh, I have to pray 5 times a day, or I'm gonna end up in hell, like I don't want to go to the hellfire, so I'm gonna pray 5 times a day. It's just like, it's like, that's so fear based, man. And I've heard a different school of thought, and a different interpretation, which is that the prayer is called salat, yeah, which is 5 times a day you pray. So in the morning, like on sunrise, different times of the day, right? 5 times. um and what I heard is that it's people get it twisted. People say, "Oh, it's for God. I need to do this for God. I need to do it because God is my sins, and God is watching me, and God is racking these things up, and these good deeds is." It's like all this bullshit, man. Like that, I don't buy into, because the school of thought that I've heard about praying 5 times a day is that you don't need to pray for God. Like, God doesn't need your fucking prayer, like your prayers. God doesn't need it. Because think about it, like God is like this almighty, like this creator of this universe. Like I said earlier, like God don't need no prayers from you. God don't need nothing from you. But the beautiful thing is, God has created this for you. God has created this salat experience for you to enjoy on a daily basis, because I feel like we're all running around in busy cities. We're rush, 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 work, work, work. All this madness is going on in our lives on a daily basis. And I feel like even with social media now, that's even mentally is draining us. We're always on our phones. We're always doing something. We're always doing. And it's beautiful to see that this religion has pinpointed 5 times in the day. Like sunrise is such a beautiful time in the day. Like, these are times in the day for you as the believer, or for you to quieten the mind, you to completely get away from the craziness that is going on in the world right now. It's for you to enjoy that experience. God is giving you that quiet, that peace of mind, that solitude almost, to reaffirm your belief in God, to reaffirm your intention and your prayers, and just to have that silence to quieten the mind. And to also, I don't know if anyone has heard of this, but also when you prostrate and you on the prayer mat and stuff like that, the movement you have to do, it actually, they say it's very similar to yoga. It lubricates the joints. It's good for the body. The actual postures that you do on the mat is actually similar to the benefit that you get from yoga. But I feel like this is more important, because in a sense it kind of just, you with yoga and stuff, I've done that, but it's just about the body. Like, but with this, it incorporates the body, the mind, the spirit, the soul, everything into this, into the experience. And it's for you to enjoy, and it's for you to quieten the mind. And I feel like this really relieves stress. I've only just done it a few times. I haven't stuck to it. I've tried it a few times, and I feel like I want to get to the point where it basically, what's the word, I'm trying to get the word. It's almost like an exciting concept that I can see myself doing it 5 times a day, because we're just so stressed out, man. We're so stressed. And just that, to know that your creator has given you these 5 times in the day to sit down, especially when you're going through adversity, especially when you're going through that storm. They say that human beings are very forgetful, and the word dhikr in Islam means to remember. And basically the 5 times of prayer a day is there for, because we're forgetful. We get caught up in our day-to-day crap. We are so bombarded with social media. We're all getting caught up on Twitter. We're all getting caught up in this person and that person causing problems. We forget the creator, and this is a way for you to constantly remember. Now, I just think it's a beautiful concept, and it's something that I I'm trying to incorporate in my life, even if it's just like the prayer that I want to do is like the early morning one, which is sunrise. And I think that's such a beautiful time around 5:30 in the morning to wake up and to, have that quiet time to just relax and, do your prayers, send your intention out, and just to have that belief in God. The first thing when you wake up, you're saying such amazing things, and you're reaffirming that you're on a healing journey and that God is with you. And I just think it's such a beautiful concept. And yeah, I just think, if anybody is interested in it, I definitely, if anyone was interested in what I said today, I would basically just advise you to kind of look into concepts like dhikr, um, look into, maybe some Islamic lectures on spirituality. I'm actually going to put in the description of this video, um, I actually came across a podcast, an audio one, called Soul of Islam. And I thought it was so powerful. It really goes into depth. They go into depth and explain to you how, the spirituality side of Islam that is really powerful. And I was listening to some of those lectures, and it was just impressing me. And they go more into detail than I ever will, because they actually practice the belief properly and so on. But yeah, I'll definitely put that into the description box. But I hope you found this informative. I hope I've given you guys something to think about. I hope that you get these concepts in your life ASAP and start seeing the results and start moving forward with God on this healing journey. Because trust me, no materialistic shit, no worldly thing, no people is going to give you that belief, that firm, belief that things will work out. So yeah, I hope this has been interesting, because I love talking about this stuff. It fucking fascinates me so much. I'm so interested in the unseen that, and it's really amazing for me to actually dive into this now, because before I'd always be too scared. What will people think? And it's not about other people. Like, keep this to yourself. You don't have to go shouting and screaming, hey guys, I'm doing this. You can keep it to yourself. You can, like, right now, I feel like in this podcast, yes, I'm broadcasting it to the public, but I just feel like I'm only going to be attracting those who want to hear this message, who want to maybe embark on this. And there's also many other religions as well, which, have similar concepts as well, which you can look into. But yeah, I hope this was informative. I hope that you guys will start adopting these beliefs into your life and see that real change that you're seeking. Thank you for listening. Peace.